Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is going to be a drawing of Paulie. He is the second MC in the novel The Inspectors. So you can see what size I have drawn him on regular copy paper and pencil, and he's fairly small. This is the size of the drawings that I did for the Bug Mage, and they're considerably larger, as you can see kind of in this comparison. By going to this size, I'm able to get in a lot more detail of the character. This is Destine from the Bug Mage. So what happens is I draw character at this size, and then I enlarge them. I take them to the reprographics, and I draw them again, and I add in the textures on the clothing, etc. So I'm giving you a couple examples here so you can kind of see what my process is. On this one, you can see I've done a lot more detail work on clothing, robes and shirts and textures, etc., etc. And that's typical of what my process is I start off wanting to see what the character looks like. Now, he's roughly around 15 years old in this sketch. And this is another example of a camouflaged cyborg that I drew for the Bug Mage. And I wanted to show you that because it's important to understand what your process is as an artist. So I'm going to draw this at this size. I'll turn on my light pad, and turn off my overhead, and I can see him better. So I use a light pad that I can see through. And then I pull out paper, which in this case is Bristol. This is the paper that I'm using for this sketch. And this is 11 by 14 inches of a Bristol board, and it is a hard surface Bristol 300 series. So you may have other brands where you are to draw on, but that's what I have here. So again, I'll turn that light off, the overhead light, and I'll tape down my paper, and I try to roughly center it in the paper. Even though this may not be my final drawing for the art for the book, it may not be the one that ends up in the book, it's still a piece of artwork. And one of the things that I learned to do, let me pull that up again. Let me pull this file back out. So one of the things that I learned to do over time, since I'm not a young person. So let's go back to look at one of the drawings from the Bug Mage. Is on the back, I have printed off labels, and I identify when the drawing was done, and I authenticate it with my name. And this is part of your provenance. You're creating provenance. What I understood when I started doing the drawings in the Bug Mage was how many there were going to be. So the Bug Mage has roughly 50 individual art pieces, and all of those have to be documented for posterity somewhat, but also that if you're just starting off in your writing, illustrating career, or just are an artist who is illustrating books or comics, etc., is your individual art pieces have their own value. So the drawings that I showed you, they have the original art value, and then they have reproductive art value. And the reproductive art value may be $10 a piece at a show. And so that can represent a lot of money for a young artist to be concerned with. So, you want to start off the way you want to go, which is creating an organizing system for the provenance of your work. Now, I've already said in other videos that I'm returning to drawing after quite a long time away. That was on hiatus from my illustration for a long time. So I'm out of practice, and I didn't know how well things were going to go. So initially, I didn't document my drawings as well. That was back in November of 2024, or roughly 5 months ago. And then I saw what I was doing, and I recognized that I would soon have a lot of drawings, that I would have to manage those, organize them, and keep them in good condition. So this is part of the process. I've had all my drawings scanned. I've had all of them reproduced in different forms. And one of the things you can do, I'm drawing on that Bristol that I showed you a second ago, and you can actually have your reproductions made on Bristol. And this is very helpful today because it means that you can take your drawings to color, which I'll show you in another video, and that gives you another means to generate income. If you're a young artist and you're trying to make a living, you have bills and children or problems that you have to take care of, you need income. And drawing takes time. It isn't a freebie. All of what you're seeing me do here is taking some of my time, which I'm enjoying it, which is hugely important. But the reality is it's my time. And so time has a value in this society. And you have to recognize that, because other people will attempt to take your art for nothing. They'll want it free. And you can't do that. You can. You can be seduced into doing dumb things. We all go through that process too. But you should know that even in the simplest terms, if I were to take this drawing that I'm doing today and make a good copy of it on good paper, and put it in a plastic sleeve with a piece of chipboard behind it, I could go to a vendor market, your marketplace where people are selling things, and I could sell it for $10 or $20 or whatever the going rate was on that particular time period. But at minimum, it would be about a $5 or $10 purchase today, doing very little more than what I've done. If I made that copy available in color, it would be more. And so I want you to understand that your work has immediate value, and you need to protect that. You saw my little label. You also, if you're going to be doing a lot of drawings, which in the inspectors, which is part of this series, I can anticipate, based on what I learned in the Bug Mage, that there will be roughly 50 drawings. And they will be characters, they will be chapter headers, they will be possibly illuminated letters, and more of the artwork that I make for this particular novel. So 50 is a lot. That's a lot of drawings. So it's up to me to manage the knowledge about those drawings for the future, because your rights for your work will pass to your beneficiaries, etc. So the better organized you are right from the beginning is only to your benefit. There's no downside to being organized. So not only would I use a label like I showed you, let me grab another one so you can see it again. Not only did I print up these labels, these are Avery type labels. I'm not sure if this is Avery the brand. This size, which was the size I wanted, and I simply laid out a simple label, copied them to the 6 spots, and printed them out on my laser printer. This gives me 6 labels per sheet, which sounds like a lot, but believe me, if you're doing 50 drawings per one novel, they go away really quickly. So you'll want to print up your labels, and you'll want to label your drawings immediately before you forget what it is that you have done. And then you'll probably want to have a logbook that details your drawings so you know how many there are, and you'll want some kind of a file system that allows you to put your drawings in a safe, dry place, flat, these are all challenges that the artist faced. Right from the beginning, you're going to have to manage the provenance of your work because they have real value. Your original art is always going to be more valuable than a copy of your art. Even if they look identical to the naked eye, they're not the same. And so far, I haven't decided on signing my art. So these drawings, the ones you just saw, I haven't actually signed the face of the art. I may go back in and do that, but I have, as you saw, I have signed the back with my actual signature. And you need to be thoughtful of all of these things as you go along, as you're beginning to build a career or a set of work, because the people who buy your work will want to know what their piece that they have purchased looks like in terms of how old it is. Was it an original? Was it a duplicate, a reprographic duplication? Was it part of, you can do reproductions and number them. You can say this is one of 25 or one of 50. And those will sell based on the rate that reproductions of your work, attract. And you don't know what that is. You may be an absolute nobody today and find minimal value in your artwork, but you don't know who you're going to be in a couple years. You don't know if you're writing as well as illustrating. You don't know what your writing career looks like. You don't have any of that information yet. So what you're doing is taking the next step of saying, I'm going to make the assumption that my work has value right from the start. And I'm an old artist, so I know my work has value. I don't need to be told by the purchase of people buying stuff. I started off in commercial art, and I'm very, very familiar with those kind of values. So that's why you're seeing me demonstrate to you how to do some provenance on your work. So you may have imposter syndrome today and think, oh, nobody cares, nobody wants this, it's not that great, I didn't do such a good job, whatever whatever little crap is going on in your head. You want to take the step of protecting your work, of being a good caretaker for your efforts, and at some point you'll understand better what you're doing today, and you'll understand where today's work fits in your overall lifetime of work, which you have no clue about what it is today. So today we're talking all about how to manage your uncertain values as a new writer, as a new artist. You want to start off the way you want to be received. So you want to be received as professional even when you're amateur. Even when this is, you're a young person and just barely starting off, and maybe you think your work sucks compared to whoever you're comparing yourself to. And like I said, don't go there. You're not comparing. You're not in competition. You are the only you that will ever be on the planet. So your work is unique to you. And for that purpose alone, you have to do a good job at being the caretaker of your current ability. And you have to value your work. Like I said, I'm much out of practice, but I trust that my work is making your day better, that you're enjoying seeing these details sort of come to life before you. And it's certainly making my life better to do it for you. But I wanted to make sure that you value yourself. So one of the things that I did recently was I had trouble finding cardboard boxes that were of a size to store my growing pile of drawings. And drawings should be stored flat. They should be in a environmentally controlled place, which just means you have heating and air conditioning and it's not out in a shed. And you should have them correctly marked, like you saw my little labels. These are not expensive. And the photocopy store where you buy them, which you often buy them from somewhere like Staples or Office Depot, you buy the packet of labels and you can have them reproduce what you want. You can draw out what you need on your label and they'll print them off for you for a nominal fee using their copy printers. So it's not an expensive process, but it's an enormously useful process. And if you are going to handle your artwork as valuable, you do it right from day one. It may not be the best drawing you do in your career, but it's the best drawing you're doing today and the only drawing that exists for your character. In this case, this is the only drawing of Paulie that exists except for the chapter header I did on chapter 1, where he's wearing a squirrel suit and flying off a mountain. So this is the first character study I've done of Paulie, and it's the only one that exists in the world. So just from that simplicity, it has its own value as being an original and from me, and I'm both the artist and the writer of the story. So it has innate value based on that. And so, as you can see, I am taking the steps to protect it. I'm protecting Paulie. I'm protecting my work. I'm protecting my story and the integrity of what my vision was for this story for future readers. So whatever it is that you're writing or drawing or imagining, it's yours. And it's up to you to be a good caretaker of what you're doing and to recognize that you have value. What your work is valuable, no matter what anybody else tells you. Sort of in spite of what people tell you, how you manage for yourself is really your own choice. And my choice is to respect my son, who will eventually inherit all of my works, my writing and my drawing, and to respect that he may want to sell it in some other way or whatever. That'll be after I'm dead, and my wishes will no longer matter, but my works will continue to exist in the world. And so it's up to me to do a good job to make sure that whatever that looks like, I do the best I can do to preserve my work and to manage it for the future the best way I can do today. And none of this is expensive, but it is a choice on how you handle your time. And really, it's a choice on, like I said, understanding perceived value of your work from the very beginning and saying, hey, my work has value, my stories have value, my drawings have value, and in the future, that should continue to be true. And I'm anticipating that, and so I'm creating provenance. I'm also creating these little films which show people they actually reflect me doing the work, which is also a value add. And it's a way of proving things. And in the growing world of artificial intelligence and the cheating that's going on, proving you are the originator, the owner of your work is going to become increasingly important. And so by doing these little films, I am demonstrating on film the work being done. And that's very hard to reproduce at this point in history. Now, what may happen, 10 years from now, who knows? I don't know. It's changing so rapidly. But I know I drew this, and you're witnessing me draw it. And that's important. Being human and being an artist is its own difficulties. I write, I draw because I love it. And not really because it makes me money, because there is question on whether I'll make any money off of these in the short term. So my metric isn't really money. Your metric may be money. You may be supporting your family. You may be finding your personal value through what people will pay for your work, which I don't recommend, but it's common that people see their value based on money, barter exchange. And so, you're dealing with whatever it is that you're doing. And it's valid in that everything is sort of valid. It's your experience. All I can do is show you my experience and why I've done certain things, because I think it will be helpful for you to sort of have someone else's perspective on life, on what's happening. And we're in a very changing period for artists. It's exciting and it's kind of horrifying at the same time. I think it's so difficult. People are trying to do their art and they're not being well supported. And that's wrong. We should be supporting our artists much better than we do. But can't win all the battles. So you do your best. So I have to say that I started off in commercial art. So my art was financially supported immediately. I don't think I did a lot of artwork before I was actually paid to do it. I had, of course, done artwork as a young person for myself, and I found that not terribly fulfilling. I much enjoyed working for other people initially. That changed over time. But I didn't have anything to draw. I was young. I didn't have my novels at that point. I didn't have story to apply to. So drawing and doing things for other people, they had their objectives, which were financial, they were commercial. And I borrowed those things when I got started. And I think that's pretty common for commercial artists, is that we kind of borrow the incentives of other people, and then we learn whatever skill set we're needing to produce the art that gets us the money, that pays the bills, that buys the food. It's sort of all kind of tied together. And so I never really had the experience of going out into the art world itself without any support at all until I was much older. And today I don't have any concerns with the art world. So everything I do today is for myself. It is for my own projects, and I'm self-generating. I'm not trying to get income from them to survive, thankfully. But anyway, this is Paulie, and you saw me quickly render him. He is done enough for today. Now, what I will do after this, at a certain point, I'll take all of my small drawings and have them blown up to the size that I can do for the larger, and I'll redraw him, and I will detail out the textures on his clothing. As you notice, I'm leaving him fairly open and plain here. That has a two-part thing. The one part is for me drawing him larger. The second part is I can take this drawing, and let's just turn the light on. I can take this drawing and I can color him in Copic and take him to color. And I have done that too, and I'll show you some color pieces later. So by leaving him open, I can apply color to this drawing. When I blow him up, I can go to detail and still color over it because it's larger scale. But anyway, that's it for today, folks, and I will see you on the next one.